Episode number 265.
No one's ever gone from A to B and never made a mistake. I mean, you look at Apple and Microsoft and Elon Musk, when everything he's done, and your team has to look at the failures and be like, all right, what did we learn from this? And let's not repeat it.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, you know your boy is always fired up. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to go. But after this show, I think you're going to want to think in the minds of quantum and the future of what's next in health and life and tech, because we're bringing you our featured guest today, Dave Ferrera. Dave, are you ready to be real?
I'm ready. Here I am. Let's go.
He's bringing it, folks. He's bringing the fuego. You have a fascinating story. Looking at your bio, Dave is an inventor and founder, folks. He's an engineer, so he actually knows how to build things. He actually knows how to make things from his mind to actually making these things, and it's helped him have an amazing career, a 25-year career or more, and experience specifically, folks, in the medical device field. This means developing these products, founding some of these companies, and then obviously getting them off the ground. You know, you're not just starting from scratch. You're actually building something from the ground off. And now your journey is even bigger because you have even bigger platform. Now we're talking about writing a book, and you're talking about all these new things you're doing for not only yourself, but your business. Right. But pleasure to have you on the show today. And first off, I'm very curious, what gave you the insight or interest into medical devices and like in the industry? That's very fascinating.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was in college in the Northeast, just outside of Boston, and I was probably a junior in college, and my grandfather had an ischemic stroke. This was in 1989. Wow. And back then, if you had a stroke, you had a brain aneurysm or an ischemic stroke, there wasn't much a physician could really do for you. And I remember going to visit my other grandmother on my mother's side, going to the nursing home, and there'd be people who were really in a vegetative state, and they've had strokes. Happened to my grandfather. He was having surgery, and it didn't go well, and he had a stroke in his right middle cerebral artery, which I didn't know what that was back then. Talking to the neurologist, I was stunned, and he asked me what I was studying in college, which was an interesting discussion to have with the physician.
Right.
But I was studying engineering, and I was majoring in plastics engineering. And he said, well, maybe someday you can develop something that I could use to treat another patient other than your grandfather, because I don't have anything to treat him right now. The best thing we can do is to just keep him comfortable and pain-free, but he's not going to make it. Right. And that was the week of my sister's wedding as well. Wow. So from that experience, I went back to school, and I talked to one of my professors and said, hey, is there any medical device internship I can get involved with? And at the time, I was going for another job. It was called Saturn. It was owned by General Motors. That was going to be the first car, which is no longer on the road.
Saturn. I remember Saturn.
Yeah, and I flew out for an interview in Troy, Michigan, and everything was big. These big machines, like the size of your house, or molding, door panels and hoods for cars. And
right.
I was like, this isn't something I want. And plus, I think I flew out for the interview. It was in January in Michigan. It was freezing. It was worse than Boston. So I came back, and my professor knew about a former graduate that was looking for interns at a company called USCI, United States Catheter and Instruments. Was owned by a big company called CR Bard, and Bard's a big company today. So I took that internship, and it was injection molding lures and hubs for catheters. It was doing the extrusion of catheters, and they were making angioplasty catheters at the time, which are these small balloon catheters that would go into the heart and actually inflate the plaque against the wall. The stroke devices weren't even developed then, but that got me into the medical device field. And upon graduation, I didn't get a job there. They had another regulatory issue. So I ended up moving to Tempe, Arizona in 1991, working for a smaller company. It was called Impra. And I was the guy that extruded the catheters and molded the hubs and did the final assembly on a blood dialysis catheter. Oh, wow. I got my experience there making catheters, and then a year later, I got recruited to go back to Boston to work for Boston Scientific Corporation. And that's when I met this older scientist there, this guy Jim Wong, and he kept telling me the future of our healthcare, or at least in interventional radiology devices, is going to be treating stroke, whether it's aneurysms or ischemic stroke. So in 1997, 5 years later, I left to co-found a company that was making devices to treat brain aneurysms, these embolization coils. But that just got me on this path, and a quarter century later, I'm still doing it.
Wow. Fascinating, because the mind is it's amazing, because obviously it gives us so many blessings, but then when it takes us away, it takes us away. And I know this because my grandfather's had a stroke in his 70s. He's still doing great. He's 10 years, it's 11 years still doing great. And my mother-in-law has had a stroke in her 40s and it's still doing great, but making the best out of it. And so when it takes it, there's nothing you can do. And the only inevitable hope, folks, for a lot of this stuff is a medical device, a great company like yourself, great companies like Neuralink and things like that are doing things in the mind and the brain to help maybe some of these people have some normalcy in their life again. I don't know. But the point is, you think about it. If you think about it, Dave, I mean, go back to 100 years, the stuff that we can do today, people could never even dream.
Forget it.
They could never even dream, not only medically, but just on your dang phone, the things you can do on your phone, the dang Apple Watch, how much device technology this thing has, it's a freaking amazing.
I can remember sitting with my grandfather. I would ride my bike from college back to Leominster. It was like a 35-mile ride. And I'd share a pot of spaghetti with him, and we'd eat meatballs. And he was asking me, I think the computers were just evolving. I mean, the PC wasn't around.
Right.
He was asking me one day, he's like, God, what are you going to see when you grow up? And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. He goes, well, geez, I saw the invention of the television. I saw us, send a rocket to the moon,
right?
Outer space. I'm seeing these computers, which I don't even know how these things work, but you're going to be working with those.
Right.
Goes, what are you going to see? And I was thinking, this was in 1988 or 87. I'm like, that's a good question. What am I going to see? And I mean, since then, the technology has just skyrocketed. I mean, we've just hit this exponential curve. I mean, I'm grabbing my phone and I'm swiping and ordering things on Amazon, and they're delivered in 24 hours. I mean, who would have thought that in 1987? Amazon, that's a river in Brazil, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like, and it saves you going to 7 different shops, because you got to pick up a hammer here and some bananas there, and you get to just all ship right to you in 24 hours or less. And
that's not even healthcare. That's just technology. Right.
Right.
I mean, there was a problem that had to be solved for that. I guess there was, because I'm using it.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I think Mr. Bezos made like $20 billion last week.
He's going to become the first trillionaire. You watch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How can you stop them? They're going to go into healthcare. They're going to go into shipping. They're going to go into everything. Why would they have more data about you than anything? They can make better decisions. Every category that can be disrupted, they could possibly disrupt. And I think it's going to be hard for anyone to disrupt them because of how they make their back end money, of the AWS and all these back end ways that people don't even know that they make all their money on building other people's websites up.
Like such a footprint. Yeah, they have tentacles everywhere. And even in healthcare, like Google is in healthcare too, but it's somewhat elusive. You don't really, you can't go to Google's website or Amazon's website and see what they're doing in healthcare. It's so almost under the radar and secretive, but I'm sure they're working on something.
Oh yeah, they got the what is the Cal? I forgot what it's like. It's Calus something. It's their longevity projects. The Sergio and those guys. Everyone's trying to. Every billionaire and trillionaire, I think, is trying to extend life. Shit, even your boys got at LifeBank USA 700 million of my daughter's stem cells.
Oh, that's right.
Because you know what? Make these things now. We got the placenta blanked. We got the cord blood blanked. And you never know how these things are going to be used, right, Dave? I mean, you could be making your hearts and livers and things like that for your future, and it actually binds right to you because there's a genetic code to you. That's the issue right now with the 3D printing and stuff, is that there is still a little bit of rejection based on the fact that it's not a match. So, but it's fascinating, right, Dave? I mean, it's probably exciting for you. And so, tell us a little about the Quantum Fund. Like, what is the vision for the Quantum Fund? How do you see this going in the next 10 years? Let's just say.
Yeah, my team. We put together this new business strategy. It's called the Venture Studio. So rather than starting one company at a time, we have had experience all together since 2007 working on devices that are in the neurovascular space, but it's within the interventional radiology space. And we partnered with a contract manufacturer that could also design, develop, and manufacture catheters and guide wires and stents and coils. So we thought it'd be highly efficient to start companies in this contract manufacturing footprint rather than getting 5 different buildings, 5 different teams, raising 5 different investment funds.
Right.
We are putting each of the companies, which are kind of projects, into this contract manufacturing footprint, which has a clean room, it has assemblers, techs, and engineers, and then raising the quantum fund, which would invest money into each of the projects, which are separate C Corps, of course. So, and we've come up with this portfolio of products by working closely with physicians who are in the radiology market that have an issue, that have a problem that they see every day. And that's where the innovation starts. It starts with really identifying what the problem is. And all the problems that are happening in the angio suite aren't solutions we can come up with and actually help. But, if I get 100, ideas pitched at me, and 2 or 3 of them are good, well, I'm going with those.
Right.
And our team's very diverse. I'm an engineer, but I'm more or less doing business development these days.
Right.
I see a lot of physicians. My partner Bill does also. And then we have an engineering team here that can engineer a solution. We have a manufacturing team that can make it. We have a quality and regulatory team that can get it approved through the CE marking and through the FDA. And so we're a very diverse team. And then what makes it efficient is having it in one roof, one footprint, the same team, which has all these skills that can make catheters and coils and stents and guide wires.
Right.
So we believe we can get to the market quicker to, so the physicians can, take the solution and actually use it on their own patients. We can invest investor dollars much more efficiently and actually on less money. Yes. And since we are getting these ideas from the physicians and also identifying, kind of the sales bag of the strategic companies, the Medtronics, the Strykers, the J&Js. And I'm also talking to them saying, listen, this is a weak spot in your bag, and this is what we're developing. And every company we spoke to said, geez, those are great ideas. I'm sure we could benefit from those. So I'm not flying under the radar. I'm above the radar. I'm telling them what we're doing.
Right.
So then when we do develop it and get to market, they can have their eyes on and they can see it so they can acquire it. So then, and I'm not looking for these multi-center randomized controlled trials. I mean, those are needed too, but there's a lot of low-hanging fruit.
Right.
Let's make something easier to use. If it's easier to use, it's a lot safer. The procedures go a lot smoother and quicker. The patients recover faster. And we still need the benefit of having some next generation future therapies, but there's a lot of things that came out that just aren't as easy to use, or there's a new indication. Like in our portfolio, we're developing a line of catheters that are used for kids, actually for newborns and also kids. When these babies or kids have a procedure that needs a catheter, they're using adult-sized catheters.
Oh, wow.
That have a bigger hole, that have a longer device, it's stiffer. And so the physician has to kind of make good with what they have.
Right.
And it's not a big market, but if you put it all together, it's sizable, but it's also, it's doing something good and it's providing a good service. So that's one application. And another technology is to treat pulsatile tinnitus, which is that ringing in your ear.
Oh, yeah.
Which there's many causes for this. And there's a subset that we're going after, which is going to use a device that gets implanted into a vein, which will get rid of the ringing.
Wow.
And it's a new indication. And it drives people crazy. I mean,
it drives people nuts. I remember my old boss, he said, dude, I got this ringing in my ear. I try everything. I've done everything. I've done acupuncture and just, there's so many different beliefs about how to fix it and cure it. Obviously people, I would say charlatans, but people that are out there, selling you whatever to help you cure it. And the point is, dude, that would be amazing. I mean,
and it's a subset. I think we can address about a third of it, and it's a new indication. The FDA loves it. The CE marking notified bodies love it. So those are the types of things that we're going after, based on the skills we have in designing, developing, and commercializing. We think we can bring these to market in 18 months to 2 years and have exits for our shareholders and just keep doing it again.
That's amazing.
That's
amazing. I remember watching recently an interview with Mark Lore. Are you familiar with him? He created diapers.com. He created jet.com, then sold it to Walmart, right? Walmart.
Wow.
And the dude literally said,
hey, folks, everyone listening, he said, you do not need to come up with a new idea. Go take whatever product you're buying right now and how can you make it better? You're buying a pizza, how can you make it hotter, faster, better? The same thing like you said with the catheter. Hey, it's just an addressable market. People are using adult catheters on kids. There needs to be a kid's catheter, a baby's catheter. It doesn't make rocket science, but we can do it. And you just start finding these things that you don't have to literally reinvent a brand new thing, but just make it more efficient, make it easier. And like you said, you're working directly with the physician, so you know their pain points. And I think that's the key ingredient in inventing, right? Because I was an inventor, or your boy's always got ideas. I got a whole book of ideas. Constantly, I'm thinking of things. You can't execute on all of them, but it's important to think about.
You got to start somewhere.
Talk to the patients, though, right? Like, I mean, talk to the patients and see what their pain point is. It all goes from that.
100%. I mean, and it's incremental advantages. That's kind of where it starts. And maybe after 3 or 4 improvements, you really have a new breakthrough technology, but you have to start somewhere.
Got you. I love that. Start somewhere, folks. Now, Dave, we're about to take you into our top 10. Are you ready?
Oh boy. Yes.
Let's go. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Netflix or YouTube?
Oh, my son's going to kill me, but I'm saying Netflix. He wants to be a YouTuber. He's only 7.
Oh, I know, man. That's the new future career move, man. I mean, they see these, the kid Ryan, whatever his name is, the kid that plays with toys and makes $40 million a year. Oh my God. It's a new world. You can't be mad at him. Oh, there's a video game that makes $20 million. Every time live stream, he goes, makes $1 million. You just got to tell him, hey, go for your dreams, but then have a backup plan, man. Have a backup with, some ideas in it, or at least.
I don't want to be his backup plan.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, okay. I'm transitioning. I'm getting into Instagram. So
I saw that. I just added you on there. I love that. Yeah, you got to Hey, Instagram's a good place, man. I mean,
it's owned by Facebook.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's owned by Facebook, a great platform, and it's evolving too. It's getting better and better for businesses and helping you sell stuff. That's the new thing. It's helping you sell, not just being social and engaging, but how to actually get, sales happen from this. So I think that's the future for, Facebook shops. And obviously with this pandemic and Rona, they're trying to help businesses. And, we hope that we can get keep some of these businesses open, man.
I agree.
That when you're thinking about a good meal, chicken or steak? Steak, baby. That's my man. Laptop or a smartphone?
Oh, a smartphone.
It's killer, huh? When you're out, you can just do so many things.
I can do everything on my smartphone now.
Yeah, I'm learning now with this Apple Watch too, like how many things you can do together, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
The power of Apple, obviously, they just figured things out, man. Spotify or Pandora when you're thinking about music?
Oh boy, see, I'm old. I'm 52.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I'm with you right there, brother.
Okay, Spotify.
And
with the new.
Crazy, man. Movies or video games?
Oh, movies.
Reading books or listening to books?
Reading books.
Yeah. Do you have any good books right now? You like to physically read?
So this is a book I think should all read.
Bad Blood. I'm gonna take that one down.
This is about Elizabeth.
Oh, no shit. Oh, that's an interesting book.
And Theranos.
Oh, yes. I've wanted to hear about Oh, my God. That story is fascinating.
You won't put this book down. You'll have it read in 2 nights. And making a movie out of it. This is this is the how not to book.
Right. How to basically convince your own mind that you can do things. Hey, with one drop of blood, we're going to cure 500 million diseases.
It was a great idea. She had a great board of directors, but there wasn't one physician on her board of directors.
Crazy. Yeah, and her boyfriend was like the other guy too, and then stuff. Weird stuff, man. So yeah, that one's an interesting one because that chick is like she's really smart too. She's like very smart. So you think it's kind of an interesting story of like, why would you do that? You could be like she could have been like the top person at Facebook or Google or something, just work, I don't know. It's just, but some people are literally just, I think it's in their mind. They grandiose.
Man, it seemed like one of her downfalls was not accepting failure as part of success and not being able to take the failures and pivot. In reading the book and seeing the documentaries, it doesn't appear as if she was looking at the failure as an opportunity to say, hey, this is never going to work in this way.
Right. And pivot something. It's pivot some other way with this money. We got money.
Yeah. She was onto the blood testing and doing something a little bit more efficiently, but what she wanted to do couldn't fit into a bread box.
Right.
and which I don't even think people have bread boxes anymore.
Right.
You know,
maybe
but
right now during the Rona, because everyone's baking bread.
well, maybe okay. And I mean, I think that was the what I got from this, being an entrepreneur and being an innovator and developing devices, that you're going to fail, and you got to look at that failure and learn from it. And
Yes.
it's a necessity. No one's ever gone from A to B and never made a mistake. I mean, you look at Apple and Microsoft and Elon Musk, when everything he's done, and your team has to look at the failures and be like, all right, what did we learn from this? And let's not repeat it. And that becomes a template. That becomes a map. That becomes a plan. And you have to anticipate it, but then use that to design something better. Or, hey, the technology isn't ready right now. Maybe it'll be ready in 2 or 3 years because the materials aren't there, or who knows. But he was really trying to, put a square peg into a round hole, and it wasn't
embrace
working.
the failure, not pretend like not embrace it and say, oh shit, this ain't working. We got to do some other thing with tests. You got to do a more rapid test, or you got to do something different.
That's what I get from the book. But you should read the book.
I'm gonna get that book. I've heard about that one. That one's gonna be on my thing. And this is a failure right here, folks. Post-it notes is a failure. Did you guys know? When I was driving, when I was taking a tour of Miami, we used to go out there, when we used to get on planes, I remember going by Star Island, and I pointed over, hey, that's the guy that created, that little blue pill that was supposed to be for your heart, and it turned something else a little bit harder.
Oh, Viagra.
And Viagra was invented by accident. So some of these failures turn into successes, folks. You just got to embrace it, and especially in your industry, Dave, because it is a much more highly regulated. This is going into your body. Right now, let's just be real. Every $1 billion, $1 trillion company in the world is trying to get the coronavirus vaccine.
Right.
I mean, if you can get that, you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a lot of money coming forward, because people are going to need it, So it's one of those things. It's just but your industry, unlike other industries, you can't just innovate and then just do this. There's some regulation things, and so people are really cautious. So I just give you a lot of acumen, because not only are you pivoting and learning and building, but you're also doing it inside a very regulated industry.
It's
fun. On the other side, it helps people make it better, right? I mean, that's the benefit.
Yeah.
It really.
But there's a process, which my book's coming out at the end of the year, and it's called Innovation and Translation, and it's really how you have a medical device idea, or you have a problem in medtech, and how to bring it to market. And as I said earlier, it really starts with the physician being the innovator. I mean, engineers are great at coming up with solutions, but you can't be a solution looking for a problem to solve.
Right.
You've got to start with the problem, and it's the physicians who have the problems, or the patient. Okay.
Right.
And then you can begin to, develop a solution that the market needs. And here we are. So this is going to be a book that's going to be, I think, somewhat of a Bible for any physician entrepreneur, any engineer entrepreneur. That this is how I've done it over 25 to 30 years. And we have a good method that we're refining. We're forming a venture studio. If we could do one of these in parallel, for 15 years, 3 different companies, then we can do 5 in parallel.
Right.
With the same team, if it's in the same subset. Now, I'm not developing a COVID-19 vaccine. I'm developing catheter-based.
You're staying within your space. Yeah, you're staying within
staying in my lane. Yeah. And the team has experience in this lane. Now, not that we can't make a small adjustment and go outside of it, but it has to start with something that we have a strong expertise in.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point too. Is self-awareness, staying in your lane. Too many people try to go from here to there to there. A couple more last questions for you, my man. When you're waking up in the morning, you're looking at yourself in the mirror. Why do you love being you?
I have such a great life. I got wonderful kids. I have a great partner, my girlfriend. I live in Orange County. I work in healthcare. I mean, there's so many reasons, but it starts with the people around me.
Right.
I'm just so blessed to have healthy friends and family, and that's
all you can ask for these days, right? I mean, that's the most important thing. We're all finding out that none of the other shit matters. Like, if you have healthy family and friends and everyone's doing okay, that really matters more than anything, especially during these specific times. Yeah. And even in life, in general, right? I mean, you start your day with gratitude, and just make your day a lot better. You don't have to be driving a Ferrari, folks, to feel good. Maybe feel a little bit better. Maybe feel a little better.
Or an Aston Martin.
Or Aston Martin. You feel a little bit better if you're driving a nice ride. But that's not what defines you.
And most people that a lot of times, if they have 5 different cars and they got Jags and cars, all this, they're not even that happy versus the guy that's driving a Pinto. I mean, you can say that there's a lot of different points of view on that, but I truly believe it's not what you're driving, folks, that's going to make you happy, you know, and you got to think that way.
And it starts with, it took me a long time to learn. I'm 52 now. I'm half a century old, okay? And it took me a long time to get to this point. There's a phrase I learned, be, do, have, okay? Yes. You have to be that person, okay? And that's so many different things for everybody, okay? But if you become the person and you just be, and it's hard to figure out what that is. It takes time and failure and success. Then you can do the things, and then you can have the things, but you got to be first. And so
I think everyone wants to skip to have. Everyone's like, I want to just skip to have, Dave. Let me get the quick course on how do I get $1 million tomorrow.
That's how the Wolf of Wall Street became. Jordan Belfort. He wanted to have it all. And he was being something else. Be, do, have.
I love that, Dave. I think that's a great way, a great point of view in life right now, because wherever you're at, you can all do those things, and then you can have what you want if you be, and then you do, and then you have it, you know?
Right.
Do you have a certain way of you starting your day? Do you have a routine or a way to get your day going?
Deep breaths.
Yeah.
To kind of, settle myself and calm down and get into that being feeling.
Got you. Do you do it for a certain amount of time, or do you have a...
It's usually 10 deep breaths.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Kind of feel my heart, breathe.
Thank God I'm here, baby. Thank God I got another day, right?
Yeah, and usually that's before my kids get up, or anyone except the cat usually wakes me up. But then I got these 2 puppies now. But I wake up and breathe, and that usually starts the day off pretty fresh.
Breath is amazing, folks. And if you haven't done it, take 10 breaths like my man Dave, because you realize, breath is important. It just comes and goes, but when you don't have it, you're gone. So it's one of those things. You don't take it for granted. Breathing is very important. Do you have a favorite? Go ahead.
And I just learned this a couple weeks ago. I have a new coach, and you can't take a future breath. And you can't breathe the breath that's in the past. It's a way of staying present.
So true.
Breathe, stay in the present. That future breath, it's coming, but you got to be patient and wait for it. So,
ooh, that one's a good one. That's a great one too, because we get stressed out, anxiety, thinking about the future, catastrophic thinking, etc. But you're right. You can't breathe the future breath, and you can't go back. So stay in the moment, and it'll keep you very focused and grateful for that we have this moment. That's one of the most important things. If you could sit down with anyone in the world for a steak dinner, who would it be right now if they could come to you?
Dad would be Lee Iacocca.
Hell yeah.
I always loved Lee Iacocca. I read his book. It was a biography I read. I think I was still in college. And he was an engineer, went to Purdue.
Right.
He was the kind of the project leader for the Ford Mustang. So he'd be a guy I'd love to have a sit down with, or a dinner with. Wow. I'd say present day, boy. That's a good question. Someone like Elon Musk.
Yes.
Because he's been so diverse. He's done so many different things. There isn't one thing that really defines him.
Right.
I mean, he did solar panels. He's sending rocket ships up to the space. He did financials with he was PayPal.
Oh yeah. And he's building tunnels and shit.
Right. So I mean, what makes this guy tick?
Dude, he says he wakes up, he takes a shower, and he gets this idea in the shower, and then he goes to his team and they execute. That's unbelievable. And his stock, since I bought it, Dave, at $26, it's been like this. This year alone, I mean, it's unbelievable. He does just funny one-off things too, Dave. If you've seen recently, he does the short shorts, and he's done the flamethrowers. And
I did the flamethrower. I saw
instantly. Yeah, the short shorts is for those that have shorted his stock. He instantly sold these little short shorts these last couple of weeks because he knew his stock was going to blow it out of the quarter. I love that, man. I think that is freaking fascinating. And like you, he's a man that, actually does these things. He actually brings these things to market and takes the risk on it too, because it's a risk. He was about to bankrupt himself, all his money, when he's putting it in on SpaceX.
Yeah, that's right. He sold all of his stock in one company.
All sorts of shit just to leverage it into SpaceX, and then got some government contracts. And then obviously now we see, things have been picking up, and he's about to get a $2 billion bonus here pretty soon for his stock. Doing well.
Good for him.
You know, and he's giving up all his possessions too. He's giving up his houses. He says possessions should not define you. I think it's a good point of way of living too for those that are kind of thinking of it that way. You know, from one of the greatest minds. You know, that you don't just got to collect houses and shit just because you can. And
right.
But the last question I have for you is this, my man. Where is the best place for people to find you, learn more about you, learn more about the story and the business?
So right now I have a website. It's called quantumfundoc.com.
Oh, nice.
So that's our website to our venture studio. And it has my bio and contact info, as well as my two other partners, Matt Hayden and Bill Colon.
Gotcha.
I think when the book comes out through Forbes, there'll be another branding of myself, which it's a different landing page. But right now, quantumfundoc.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn.
So find him on LinkedIn, my man. Folks, you've been hanging out with Dave Ferrera and Travis Too Tall and Huff. We want to thank you again for your time today, and let's keep being real.
What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform, and also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it, and thank you so much for listening today. Right now, more than ever, folks, we need to work on our reputation for our businesses. And get those reviews, get those positive reviews, get those positive recommendations on both on your social, but also to market on your website. And that is why you want to check out my business, folks, our software, realtimereputation.us. That's realtimereputation.us. Please check it out. It is literally the best thing that's ever happened to many of our campaigns, as that reviews bring together your social and digital campaigns. And the more positive reviews, as people are making those positive, decisions, they're looking at your, at your reviews. And so the more you can get, the better. And make it easy and automated with realtimereputation.us. Check us out.